Hey guys, and welcome to the DBGA podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the beauty and e commerce industry. Excited to have our guest today, Barbara Roll. We'll dive into her story and a little bit about what her company does and some engaging insights into the beauty industry. So I'll go ahead and kick it off to you, Barbara. Could you please introduce yourself and tell a quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Boom Beauty as well as oVertone Color?
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you for inviting me to speak with your audience. I have been a part of beauty for 25 years and actually didn't set out to work in beauty. I had studied international relations with a focus on Eastern European politics. I did my MBA in Brussels and stumbled across Oriflame Cosmetics, which had just listed itself on the London Stock Exchange. There was the Russian ruble crisis, and they had two big markets, Russia and Poland. They bought themselves back because the collapse challenged their business, and the founders bought themselves back and decided they were going to get really good at opening emerging markets. And that included the Eastern European bloc, which was super exciting for me. And I was so lucky to work a part of this incredibly fast growing, large organization. We went from 750 million to 1.4 billion in a very short span of time with an incredible team. I learned so much there and have been a part of beauty ever since. So that's been my background. I more recently in the US came to US with a beauty company, back to the US with beauty, and ended up working in the indie beauty sphere in Southern California. I'm in a really exciting time when influencer marketing was emerging, when social marketing was becoming a thing. Instagram was being developed, if you can imagine that was still new, and e-commerce was starting to become an important part of what beauty was about. And yeah, so now I'm the CEO of oVertone Color and Boom Beauty, and it's a really exciting opportunity and moment.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. So you touched upon a little bit how you got into the beauty industry, but now I want to ask you, what is about your job or industry that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I am really passionate about really, I think a lot of aspects of it. I enjoy what I do. I really enjoy working with people. I enjoy watching and observing how people interact and consumer behavior. Grew up in beauty and the marketing side, so very data oriented and like that you get to be both data oriented and creative in the marketing side, especially because during the last, I would say, you know, 7 to 10 years in beauty, it's become really exciting. Like I think the digital space is really exciting. It's dynamic, it's challenging, it changes all the time. But I'm one that really believes that you need to, you know, experiment, measure quickly. If it's going well, push and keep going. If it's not, retreat and change course. And definitely maybe more in the digital space or performance marketing space than any other space. But also, influencer marketing was a thing. We got to build that up, and it's been really exciting. There's a lot of relationships that I've built along the way with beauty executives or influencers that really care about this space, or incredible agencies that are blooming as the sphere changes as well. And to me, all of that's exciting. Just kind of what's new, what's happening, and how do we get to talk to consumers in new and different ways, more directly through all of that capability. It's an exciting, I think, one of the exciting parts for me.
Definitely, definitely. And like you said, it's a very dynamic industry with a lot of changes happening all the time. So I want to ask you, based on your experience and based on what you see in the industry at the moment, what are the current trends in the market that you are aware of?
Yeah, so current trends in general, I think in the beauty market, there's like the brand trends, right? Like there's more. I think post COVID, there's more what we used to call indie brands were like but there's more just like baby brands entering the space. And really, in skincare and makeup, a lot of celebrity, I think post COVID and during COVID, celebrities were entering skincare in a more meaningful way. And then we saw the dermatologists kind of come in and say not every skincare is well created. And so now we're seeing celebrities enter kind of makeup sphere, or large mega influencers entering that space as well, which isn't the ones that used to. It used to maybe be like the Jeffree Stars, and now it's maybe like Hailey Bieber, right? So very different kind of level. It's not makeup artists, but just celebs. And that is really interesting to see that kind of dynamic play in, and what is the role of the influencer when the celebrity is backing the brand. I think if I look at trends on the other side, which is like product trends or the way that we speak to the consumer trends, I think on that side, there's a lot of interesting newness that's coming through in skincare as well in terms of ingredients. But there still is a real desire for cleaner, less toxic, and safer, which I think is really interesting. And I think it's going to live on. I think wellness is really pushing through beauty in a big way. And it means that you're seeing brands emerge that are about vaginal health. You're seeing brands emerge in a time when we're talking about being inclusive. You're seeing a lot of brands that are for her or for him, that's speaking more to the wellness of the person, right? Which is really interesting because that really goes in the face of self-identification of gender, but that is coming across much more. And then you're also, I think, you're seeing Ulta then play to, or beauty area specialty or FDM spaces like Target play to, merging ingestibles with topicals, right? And they're sharing spaces in their stores. So a lot of interesting things happening in the space on that side. And then there's the whole back end side of, the trends that are happening to help really build brands in different ways.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you for sharing this. Now I want to transition a little bit and learn a little bit more about your companies. So could you tell me about what products are over at Boom Beauty and Overtone Color?
Yeah, so Overtone Color, I'll start there, is really fun. It is a semi permanent hair color that is healthier for your hair and scalp, and still allowing you to have vibrant fun with your hair. It was built by two founders, and I think they were really forward thinking. They are no longer a part of the organization, and haven't been since COVID actually. But their vision was to create a semi-permanent color that is healthier for your hair, and can be really fun and highly inclusive. And they built this incredible community of fans during their time. I think they were really successful in doing that. We have now at Overtone over 35 different shades of semi-permanent hair color. And if you go to the Instagram, you'll see there's I think around 700,000 community fans, and they share all the time very freely their experimentation with their hair color with Overtone. There was one content creator, Madison, the other day, who she has beautiful light brown hair, but she did a red overtone color to it. It was like fabulous, and it looked so amazing. And so we have the semi-permanent. There's also a daily, which allows you to bridge between washes. If you want to tone your hair for 2 to 3 days, you use it as a conditioner right after your shampoo in the shower, and you're toning your hair. And so that's Overtone Color. We do sell it in Target. We sell it online. And Boom Beauty is an incredible brand as well, completely different demographic. It is makeup and skincare for mature women, and specifically designed for perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal skin, which is different than skin earlier in life, unfortunately. And I may be suffering from some of that. Your lids start to droop a little bit more. Your fine lines that you've been developing over your lifetime start to reveal themselves as your collagen decreases, and then your skin settles into those crevices that you've been developing for many, many, many years. And so really we're designing makeup specifically for that type of skin. You don't want powders. Powders sit in the crevices and highlight your wrinkles. You don't really want toxicity already in this age. Women are faced so much more with the horseman diseases, including cancer. The last thing you need to do is put more toxicity into your system. So it's highly organic formulas as well. And then there's skincare design for the skin as well. And I think more than anything, Boom Beauty is really, despite the products, is really about the community behind it. So, I think, again, here is a founder story where the founder just did an incredible, she cared probably more about having an opportunity to bring women together in this period to share stories than she did about, she also cared about the brand and the products, but it was equally important to her. And she used this as a vessel to connect people and women to have these conversations as well about their skin changes, but other conversations like about menopause or about, like what their sex drive is at this age and things that, allow a broader and more interesting conversation that women don't have very much. So yeah, those are the two brands.
Very interesting. You kind of touched upon this already, but I want to really give you the opportunity to really dive into this topic. What unique value do Boom Beauty and products and do oVertone color products bring to your customers?
Yeah. I think the unique value of Boom, especially today, our founder, Cindy Joseph, is an incredible, incredible person. She passed away of breast cancer, which is something, I can personally relate to, and a lot of women in our age can. As you start to get older, you're touched by it much more. She really led this pro-age movement. 7, 8 years ago, she was already talking about, just embracing life at this age and not feeling that when you're entering your mature years that you need to like start, feeling less beautiful, have less fun, feeling less youthful. You're still all of those things. And so she started that conversation before. And I feel like right now, if you talk about a trend, that's definitely one of the trends is, people are saying, embrace your mature years, and pro-age is becoming something people talk about a lot more. But because one, she started it not because Mintel or like researchers said you should, and this is an emerging market, but she started it because she believed in it. Foundationally, Boom not only has a pro-age message and wants to build that community, but we work with dermatologists to really understand the changing skin during this time period. And the dermatologists partner with our development team. We also work with makeup artists. We have 2 makeup artists that are mature skin makeup artists that design makeup looks and how do you do makeup differently? And we educate on how you do makeup differently at this age, which is, I think, really sets the bar a bit higher, right? This isn't just us showing you a picture of someone that's older, and then if you dig in our website, you're going to see, it's really for everybody. This is truly meant for women in this time of life, and then also to build a community. So it's and thus research this way. So that's the point of difference that really makes a difference with Boom Beauty specifically. For oVertone, it's natural. It is the only semi-permanent hair color brand that actually has 9 natural ingredients that are actively caring for your hair and your scalp while you color your hair. In fact, if you try this product, which Rachel, I'd recommend you do, you would have a lot of fun, and I'd recommend a red for you. But if you do try this product, you usually when you dye your hair, you would expect like this chemically smell, right? And you're like, you need to set a timer, you need to take it off at a certain time, right? All of that. oVertone is not that way. It is actually, when you smell it, you're like, there's a strong scent of rosemary and mint that hit you, because those are 2 core oils that are in there, because it nourishes your scalp and your hair while you're wearing this hair mask depositing color. You could actually leave it in your hair for an hour or 2 hours because the color sets, but it's not damaging your hair. It's actually nourishing your hair. It also sets in 10 minutes, so you can wear it for 10 minutes and wash it out. But it is the only product on the market like that. So really compelling. And I think that's why there's such a following for oVertone, actually.
Yeah, very interesting. And thank you for sharing all of that information. And I definitely want to try the oVertone products, honestly.
You would like it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure. Now I want to transition a little bit. As you know, we're a data analytics company, so I'm
yeah.
always curious to hear about what other people experiences are in the industry when it comes to data. So I want to ask you, in your experience, how does data influence decision making and strategies in the beauty industry?
Yeah, I mean, data is everything, right? It's so important. And I was just having this conversation with a CEO, a friend of mine as well. We were talking just about what we're facing and issues, et cetera. And it was funny. He said you can almost make every decision based off of data, almost, right? And know you're moving in the right direction. I think often, especially with smaller beginning brands, data can't, that you have a feeling, one, maybe you don't know what to do with it, or what you should be using to analyze your KPIs or your metrics, or data can feel expensive, and that's another, right? Once upon a time, I worked in a large organization where we bought the Euromonitor, and that's a huge investment for a company that maybe smaller beauty brands wouldn't have access to. The wonderful thing today with AI, or with um, data access pools that we have on the back end, you can really collect a lot of data easily. If you have an e-commerce, Shopify gives it to you. Northbeam is a great way to connect data. There's Klaviyo, if you use that offers data. There's just so many different data points. You can scrape your reviews, and all of it gives you consumer feedback. And I mean, all of us that sell product, if we're not listening to our customers, we're not doing our job, right? We make the product for them, and we need to understand, they could tell us a lot. What do they want? What works? What doesn't work? How do we need to adjust our product so that it's right for them? And so super significant. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And more specifically, can you share insights on the role of data analytics in understanding consumer preferences and trends within your companies?
Yeah, we do use it a lot now, and that is something that, as I started the role as CEO in this organization, that I started to build up a lot here. And so, for consumer insights, we do scrape data in multiple locations, and assimilate it. There's agencies that can help you do that. I think, Rachel, I think you guys do that, right? So there's agencies that can definitely help, because maybe if you don't know how to gather the data, or once you have it, how do you interpret it? Knowing how to do that is really important. It's something that we've been working on in our organization, and you can see that people are really motivated by seeing the numerical output of the work that they're doing, but also to be able to then pivot and make decisions based off of it. So we do pull social, we do social listening. We have digital data that we look at. We have our e-commerce data that we look at. Even for product development, social listening is really great for product development as well, as is keyword data. I mean, we can go on. There's so much. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you mentioned as well, there's a lot of challenges that come with using data because often it comes from very different sources. And if you want to cross the information, sometimes it's difficult because it requires also technical skills. So, what are some of the key challenges you face in gathering and utilizing data effectively in your role at both Boom Beauty and Overton Color?
Yeah, I think some is knowing, helping people to know what is the right data to look at, right? There's a lot, and definitely what you don't want to do is make decisions based off of data that maybe isn't the right data. That is really important, I think, in performance marketing specifically. Because it's expensive and you need it to work, right? And it is a really important way for customer acquisition. Um, the other is, I think, and I've definitely been a part of organizations that do this, is data, what you call analysis paralysis, right? And so because at one moment you need to know that you have the right data, that you can trust the data, and that it's not more than you need. And sometimes I've seen organizations that just keep getting more, feeling like more data is better. That's not necessarily the case from my perspective. It's having to know what is right to look at, to make the decisions. So, what are your true KPIs, and trust them, right? And feel good about what you're measuring.
Definitely, definitely agree because as you said, like you said, there's so much information that you can get, and it can be overwhelming and distract you from actually what you need to look at. So definitely agree with this. And data is not only the only challenge that CEOs have to face. So I want to ask you, what type of mindset is needed to be a successful CEO?
Um, I think there's a lot of different types of mindsets. Really, there's many different types of executive leaders, and I don't know that there's one particular successful um, approach over another. Um, actually, and also it depends on the size of the company as well. But I do think, what has helped me. I could speak to what's helped me be successful, and I would just go back to one thing I said, but I think the first thing is creating a culture of great teamwork and exploration, risk taking, and measurement in an organization. That people really understand what you're marching to. They have clear understanding of what the goals and the objectives are for the company, what they are for them. That they understand their kind of KPIs for success, and that they're really bought into and passionate about the direction of their work, but also the company. And there's a cultural aspect of really trusting an organization and team members, so that they feel empowered to do their job and have the tools and are mentored well to do so. Because not one person can make a company successful. Truly, is the team that makes the company successful. So that is for me number one, is to really make sure that the team knows where they're headed, that they feel empowered, that they have access to data to measure their results, that they are doing that, and that they're getting the mentorship and tools to be successful. So if you're doing that well, that has proven to be something, and that there's clear, that the vision of where we're headed is super clear. And that has been something for me that has been proven to really help organizations move forward. And a lot of that, honestly, Rachel, in my view, is driven in really great understanding of the business based on data, but understanding of the business, the consumer of various aspects, and laying that out clearly as a path for growth for the teams.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. And you were talking about vision, so that's perfect transition for my next question, which is, what is your vision for the next 12 months?
Yeah. So I am just moving into the role of CEO with this organization. I was brought in last year in June to help look for growth areas of opportunity, and to see how the company can accelerate growth faster. Really now, at the helm, one is continuing to build a very strong team. We have a clear direction and vision and goal of what we're achieving this year, and really making sure, as that's a new structure for our organization, that people feel very comfortable in it, that they are given the tools this year in that first great year for us, to feel like they're, all the things I just said, really, that the culture is right, that the team feels trusted, that they have the tools and mentorship they need, and that we are taking the risks that we have laid out in front of us, that we're measuring it and pressing forward. I think if we do that, we're going to have a pretty good year.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And now I have a last question. Uh, it's a good way to wrap things up, but it's a little bit loaded. So my question is, what are some of the most important things that you've learned in your career?
Oh, it's such a great question. Most important things that I've learned in my career. I think one is, I've been really fortunate in my career to have to seek out and have really great mentors. I never and I think, I still tell people this, like, I never was a person where I wouldn't work outside the scope of my role. I was curious and I wanted to learn different areas. I volunteered to work in areas that had nothing to do with mine so I could learn more. I certainly believe staying in an organization makes a difference. I think a lot of times what I see now is people jump around and they'll say, I've learned everything I could there, so I'm moving. And I actually don't know if that's your best way of learning, because you don't see your results. And learning comes with seeing your results, and making adjustments. So I would say, some things that I recommend, but that have really helped me, has been having great mentors, really being humble in my learning, being willing to move around in an organization. And usually, when I volunteer to help, I find myself growing, because now, you become the obvious person to have take on more responsibilities because you've been doing it. And I've also learned that through that and built my career that way. Um, I think as well later in your career is to give back. If you're fortunate enough to be someone that has had great mentors, that's had great experiences, that's been promoted, moved around, there's a moment where it's really important to, in my view, give the same back to those that are exactly where you were. And you learn a lot that way, as well. And my belief is that really it does take a team. And so in that mentorship back, it's mentoring on a perspective, but you learn a different perspective from a different generation, from someone that has a different background than you. And it is, in a way, it's synergistically, helpful.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Thank you for sharing this, especially surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up and teach you, because you don't know everything, of course, is extremely important. Definitely agree with that one. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Now, for the people that are listening or watching, and that want to reach you out, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can reach me on Instagram. I am at Barbara Roll Cardiel, is my handle there. I actually, ironically, for many, many years, I had a very private background and I did not have a public anything. My Instagram was private, my Facebook was definitely private, and I wouldn't have been on any other platform. And I did that because as a professional, and I was a young professional, I was a very young vice president once upon a time. I was often told that I was a young vice president. And I definitely kept my private life very private because I felt like that's what I needed to do. And only last year, maybe 6 months ago, I decided I had a health scare. I recovered from that. I changed my job, and I thought, I'm going to live my truth, which is kind of what I just said. I want to give back in a bigger way, to the many people that I've met in beauty over the years. I want to connect with the influencers and content creators. In my last company, we worked with over 3,000, and a lot of those relationships I had built. And I didn't want to lose contact with people, and I wanted to help continue to build people up in beauty. And so I decided I would, allow myself to have a public Instagram handle. So it is at Barbara Roll Cardiel. Most of what's there is beauty based anyway. So yeah, you can always reach out to me there.
Okay, awesome. I'll add that to the description of the podcast so that people can find you easily. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Bye.